Hey folks, and welcome back. It's Sunday, the 15th of December it was, and there's a lot of activity coming into this town right now, sailing-wise, isn't there? The Big Boat Challenge on Tuesday. Did you get a look at that?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty impressive seeing that Loyal. It's a big monster, you know, like when it gets up and reaching, it's just amazing.
Lots of noises coming off it.
Yeah, yeah. In these 70s, Volvo 70s, to see them was terrific.
Very impressed with Blackjack's pace. So.
Yeah, they'd sail very well.
So that's just a little snippet of what we're up for down here. It's come towards Christmas and then Boxing Day, the most important day of the year. But today, we've got Heat 2 of the New South Wales Championships. We're back to full course racing. Scratch start. We've seen the form of, and particularly the rise and rise of Mojo. We were impressed with him. I think Billy McCartney said if you can beat Mojo, you win the Gildan.
He did say that, but you know, it's a big call. But no, I don't think he's here. I looked around. We haven't seen him go out.
He's gone out with Sid on the mighty.
Oh, okay. So he's got
VIP boat. He's working it nicely. But the other big news today is right behind it. You can see Cooper's Rag and Famish. Now they're a non-starter, and funnily enough, it just goes to show how much tension they're whacking into these rigs. They broke their bow pole, putting it on the boat.
Yeah, right.
What does that say? I mean,
well, everything's wound up like a drum now.
Yeah. So they're not going to start. So, but today, pick the podium. Well, you've got about any one of 10 boats can get on that podium. We'll get out on the water. Funny little breeze coming. This contravenes everything that the forecast was saying. They were talking sou'east today. We've ended up with a nor'easter.
Yeah.
All on big rigs. We'll get out in the harbour and set it up for you. See you out there. Okay, folks, we've found Doug Cameron's team. The mighty Rippleside is anchored up in Taylor Bay, and the reason for that is we've got a pretty good breeze. I wouldn't say good, it's probably blowing about 5 to 8 knots here in patches, but it's going to be a course 6, the fairest course that Doug could come up with is another windward leeward, and you can see 6 over 4, which means course 6, 4 laps of. So we're going to get giddy out here today. We're going straight up into Watson's Bay now. Warwick Rooklyn was just thinking about his picks for Pick the Podium. And Warwick, you like the idea of Woody because he's got the turn mark in his lounge room up there.
Yeah, well, Woody's grew up selling there with Savos and VJs and VSs, and so being a bit sentimental. But and he's bloody old. But oh look, I'll throw him in there.
Well, come on, give me your podium.
Okay, I'll put Woody in there. I'm not going to win any money on it, but I might get a fridge or something. And then I'll go Mojo and 7.
Mojo 7. Now, Ashlyn, your colt is on board. Ashlyn, what do we got from you, buddy, on your podium? You've been flipping around with it. What are you going for now?
Yeah, I think in the end I'm going to go with 7. They've always got some good speed. Thurlow. And lately, Nick Daly has had some really good speed, so Pure Blind, I'm going to go with them as well.
Ooh, right out there. Nice one. That's adventurous, but I like your work. And I'm going to have a crack at Mojo because I think he's just the class act, the rise and rise of Mojo over the last few weeks. And they were in the park, Warwick, this morning at 9:30. I saw their boat, and it was off the trail, and they had the mast in it. So I told Coco about that, and he said, they're too focused. So nice comment from one of the opposition. Too focused.
Yeah, well, he probably would have been up at 5, done some running, get fit, drive down from Newcastle or Lake Macquarie, and hooking into it. I mean, the guy knows how to work hard. He's one of the hardest workers I know, and so we'll see. As this goes on, he's certainly going to get better and
rise. So I'm going with Mojo. I'm going with Appliances online because I think they've been improving. They led that race last week, as you saw, and they broke down, bit of gear failure. And I'm going, and then I'll go with Gotta Luv it because I think Seve's back on board. They've got their full race team there today. So I'm 7, Mojo, and Appliances online. So that gets that squared away. And I looked at the sheet with all your entries, and you've got a lot of that. Thurlow, Mojo and 7, I think it's going to, if that gets up, there's going to be a big pile of people in the hat to be drawn out. So we'll find out more about that later. But we're going to sit tight. We're still on AP. Beautiful afternoon. Breeze is out of the east-nor'east, and we'll come back to you when we get some more action close to the start time. We'll line up the leeward pin. I can't even see it at the moment. Probably not laid. Back to you then. A little bit of... You were rolling there, Simon?
Yep.
Just inside, 4 to go, and turning up in the brain department here. Coco and Seve coming together, trying to avoid a cruiser that you'd like not to be there, but it's about to get underway, folks. Heat 2 of the New South Wales Championships. Seve always likes to have a look at the wind angle on the start line, and that sort of he was totally engrossed in that when Coco came along, and then they introduced the cruiser. David Witt come round to the left here, Simon. You got the big green Sydney City Maroon. David Witt, he'll be another bloke trying to get his marker on the board today as we go towards the Gilpin, and this is going to be a good race, Warwick. It's just because of the way this fleet's shaping up, and Nico said last week he thinks this is the hottest fleet in Australia at the moment. I don't disagree with him. There's a lot of talent, and these boats are great to watch. We're probably in the right place all of this summer. So Warwick, that leeward pin, mate, it's pretty square, do you think? Can you see it down there?
Yeah, I haven't had a good look at it, to be honest, but the only problem is down the pin end.
You got the bricks.
You get well, and it's just really funky down there. I don't think many of the top boats will elect to start at the pin. It's a very short runway. They're going to come back on port, and it's light. I think they're going to be sort of boat to middle.
Boat to middle, starboard, and then tack out. The tide, by the way, today is starting to run in around 3:30, so there's a small amount of run off at the moment, but it'll won't be a big issue today, I wouldn't think, although some people like Chris Nicholson will probably have a plan for it. Not sure about how the others will treat it, but I think it's a matter of getting to the side of the course where you think the pressure's going to be, the lifted pressure towards that turn mark up in Watson's Bay. Warwick, what are you seeing? You'd want to get over the east, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, they've got to get to the east, because that's where the marker is, in the northeast. But the critical thing here is, when do you cross? And you know, I'd say that they'll sort of probably elect to head towards the northern end of Taylor Bay, and then start to get across and try and get to Bottle and Glass over in Nielsen Park, and then just work the shifts up there. But it's very shifty, and they're crossing the channel 8 times with 4 laps, and so that's a lot of waves. There's ferries going to come into play.
Have a look behind you, mate, and have a go. Do you reckon this is the real estate on the boat?
Well, as I said, if we just pan a little bit left there, Simon, we can see that everyone is just fighting
lined up
for the boat end.
General.
And 10 into 1 don't fit.
I tell you, who's doing, I think, is in a good spot is Johnny Sweeney in the DeLonghi. He doesn't want to buy into this melee up here, so he's the furthest to leeward, so he's going to be in the middle of the line.
He's going to be early. It's 30 seconds to go. He's over, so I don't know what he's going to have to come back.
Well, he's got plenty of room to get down, eh?
Yeah, well, he's certainly on his own down there. Smeg's had to bail out of it. Seve in 7 is hanging in, just fighting. He's trying to tack with 20 seconds to go. So he's going to have to be second row and then probably tack here. Woody's looking good here. Woody's looking real good here. Seve's going to be overlaid there, 9. Coming up for 5 seconds to go now. So Seven's going to do the late charge in. Run up the back of Witty,
2,
probably.
3 horns. Just a sitter for that, so that's a general.
And as I said, 7 had to go below Witty, who was just twice the speed, and general recall.
We'll be back to you with a second start, but that boat end is way too attractive. I think they've got to take the pin up some yardage to sort that out. Anyway, we'll come back. See you then. Okay, we're coming up to the second start of the second heat of the New South Wales Championships. We've got the same problem, Warwick Brooklyn. The board, Doug Cameron tried to have a shot at moving that pin up, but I don't think he's done enough with it somehow. And we've got the same old fight over the boat. Could be some carbon rubbing together here.
Yeah, look, he's done what he can do. I mean, you can't move the start into the channel, and you know, unless you move it all the way up towards the shore, he's, you know, not a lot more he can do.
Who's got the...
certainly open up the middle of the line a lot more than the last start.
Yeah, well, how's this line up? Cooper's doggedly trying to hold out Johnny Sweeney on the DeLonghi. And the boys from Hire just slide into the middle of that program. Bit of carbon rubbing. He's going to be early, is he? And Appliances Online, I like what they're doing. That is 1 to go. And
so Seven's elected to go more for the middle of the line. Coco's going to end up being about third of the way down by the time this gets going. Mojo's just sitting back fighting for the boat end. Asko's overlaid there and fighting to hang in, but I don't know if he can stay stopped there for another 34 seconds. Most of the boats are very advanced. Appliances on lines fighting to hang in there. 20 seconds to go. Asko's over.
Little conversation from Marcus Ashley there.
And here we go.
Winding them
5
up
seconds,
now.
4. I think Kenwood's over. Appliances on line might have been over.
Anyway, it's an individual.
Asko was over. Mojo did well. They hung in there. They got rag right under them.
That was a great start by Nico, wasn't it, really? Out of all of that, he's got a bit of a skinny lane, but
he's going to attack now. He had a little bit of pressure from Rag and Famous Jack McCartney underneath. Now he tacks. Oh, he's going back.
Ooh.
Chris has elected to go back.
Well, we didn't think he was over. He was seen to be quite back from the line. So Mojo's elected to give himself an uppercut there.
Yeah, well, I didn't pick that.
Anyway, the race has started. Rag holding up a good lane here, most advanced starboard tack of Warwick, and then you've got Lumix, Malcolm Page on the kitchen makers, got a hopeless lane, Coco looking good, and right over on the bricks is Dan Phillips in the mighty Smeg. And he's got his brother Gary on the sheet today, so no Nick Press, but that hasn't slowed them down one bit. Pure Blind, Ashland's fancy is trucking along as he thought, and Gotta Love It, just right in the mix, right next to Coco's Thurlow, so that's no great surprise. So that's it. We'll shut down now and we'll wait to see how these pinned boats, like Smeg's just tacked, Hay has gone, Pure Blonde will try and, no, you can't get there, time to come out. So we'll just wait and see how these pin boats match up against the early port tack boats off that start line. I'll come back to you then. So we said we'd try and get some definition of the escapees out to Steel Point, and this boat we're looking at is Yandu. This is your pick, Warwick. You thought Woody was up for a podium today, and he's certainly started extremely well. Are you happy with him?
Yeah, well, he banged out to the right first, and that seemed to work. He was in clean air and wasn't interfered with by other boats, but he seems very bowed down at the moment, but he's electing to keep going. Seven, on the other hand, has elected to go all the way into Steel Point. So
there's Seven. Simon's got the camera on Seven, so he's decided he wants a lot more of that money on offer over there. So this is interesting. David Witt's got the green boat too, plugging away up the middle of the channel there, up the harbour. Going to be a great race once we get to these top marks. There's a lot of tricky stuff going to get to those marks in Watson's Bay. Just halfway up, well, not even halfway up the first beat on a 4-lap course 6. Come back to you shortly. Woody's got him at the moment.
Can you see?
Okay, folks, here's a little shift in the fortunes of this first beat. We've got the camera on, Gotta Love It. Now, though we're talking about them going back into Steel Point for a little bit more. Woody tacked out of there and he's gone straight up the middle. You can probably see the coming together of Thurlow Fisher, who's got through to leeward of Yandu, so he would be in that mix right now. But Gotta Love It is the boat that's looking pretty famous here. He persevered with the right side of this course, and now he's got his pressure that he wanted. He's a bit short of pressure, Warwick. When he went in there and he looked like he's going to tie himself in knots, but now he's looking okay. Would you have him crossing Thurlow and Woody?
Yeah, from where we are, it looks like he might do so, but it just depends whether the other guys who are coming back get pressure. They look very soft at the moment. But yeah, they're certainly ahead of Smeg. And they persevere with the right. And yeah, yes, I think they've actually got the lead now.
So a little bit of rolling the dice by the big red 7 has paid. So let's just see, we're heading for the first mark, which we're trying to find up here in Watson's Bay. Could be straight ahead. I don't recognise that coloured mark that was. But anyway, we'll persevere. Come back to you when we find the mark. I can see it now. It's over underneath the white light. So Seve's almost on lay up here. Back to you shortly.
He smashed it, didn't he?
Okay, so here's our leader, the big red seven. Seve Jarvin, Scotty Babbage and Sammy Newton just picked their way up here magnificently, Warwick Rooklyn, and we found the mark. They're about to turn it, set the chute, and they will just get a nice little break on this pack. You can see Thurlow to leeward, about to come back in on port tack, and we've got a line up for the podium position is Dan Phillips in the Smeg. Will probably get there in second place. Cocko's going to have to take some sterns here, or he's got a lot of starboard takers coming at him. So it's, as we thought, a very tough competition today. Good to see Dan Phillips hasn't lost anything, mate.
Yeah, no, Dan's done very well. He started very well and he's got out of there. And the Asco's done well. I thought Thurlow actually infringed Asco before. And now with these jibe sets, we've just got to watch it with the boats underneath them, as Seve had to do a late avoidance with Thurlow and Cocko. They're very soft, but everyone's going to be doing the jibe set. And
David Witt looks like he might just go around the outside here with a bit of height and a bit of, he's sucked all that pressure up at the moment. So Cocko has missed the mark completely.
Oh, and Marcus has got himself into trouble.
Oh,
Marcus is doing so well, he's just... He sort of blew it there.
It's all going on here, folks.
It's all gone quiet. They're all yelling at each other.
Cocko can't even
really
unwind himself to get around this mark. So the wash up to all of that is John Sweeney coming around the outside of everybody in the DeLonghi. He's got pressure, and he probably just cut across all their bows, get down and be in probably fourth or fifth spot. Lumic's underway again.
But this is just a case of the rich getting richer. We can't quite see it at the moment, but Seve got around by themselves, got some pressure, and it's just taken off.
You can see the red chute down there. They're just more than happy with this. This is a major park up here, was. Total park up at the first turn mark. Grant Rolls is not scared. He's just going to set a chute anyway and see what happens. Where does that drag him?
And you know what this is going to play into for Chris Nicholson and Mojo, who had to go back and restart quite late. Well, he's coming in here with breeze, and let's see him potentially go from about 12th or 13th, maybe up into
5th or 6th.
5th or 6th, yes. And Thurlow's just stuck there. Decided not to go for a shoot. It's just a parking lot.
He hasn't gone around the mark, I don't think, Warwick. Still trying to get around the mark.
You could be right, Kilo.
So John Winnie, who was
just watched DeLonghi here.
John Winnie, who was
electing to sail away from that pack, which is a pretty smart move, actually.
Looking for pressure. Matty Walk with a big smile on his dial. One of my picks, the Pirates, sort of got underway again. So
Mojo's come round, done a good set, jibe set, but they're going to be running into a bit of traffic there.
Ooh. Course 6, you got to love them, haven't you? What was it?
It's always tricky up in Watto and sort of sick east-northeast. Look, Asco's dropped their chute, they're doing turns. It's just carnage, and all the while, look at this, 7 is halfway down the run. Behind them Smeg, and behind them David and Witt. So those 3 have just gone skis. And Nico, look at that, up into 4th. From last to 4th. That has just played out perfectly.
Charmed life, those boys at the moment. Anyway, that's the action from the first mark. They're heading down. Gotta Love It is way down there now. You can see the red chute of 7 and Smeg, and the green chute. Sorry, the green chute. There it is.
Sorry, Kilo. Mojo's dropping their chute. So I don't know whether he thinks he's infringed and he's going to do his turns, or they've had some drama. No, he's doing turns.
Oh well.
So, not so good.
Not so good. More catching up to do. Boy, there was lots going on in that pack. So that's that bit of the course. We'll get down the bottom and just see how this chasing peloton behave themselves, all converging on the 2 turn marks down there. Appliances Online doing a nice job way out wide. And that's what I like. He's on my podium. Back to you shortly. We've got the camera on our leader. Gotta Love It. Has had a pretty skinny ley line to these 2 turn marks, and they're there and got plenty of comfort in their lead at this point in time. So Sam Newton rips that chute off. They're going right back to the east, Warwick. What do you reckon? They'll be straight over where they banked all their money last time.
Yeah, I'd say so. And the thing is too, like with those skinny ley lines and this pressure, you know, with a guy like Sam Newton in the bow, he can do it all basically by himself, and it means that the boat doesn't slow down and keep the apparent breeze forward and keep the momentum. You can see that they didn't stop trying to get into the mark deep, so it's actually a good tactic in this air.
Well, there they go, heading straight back over to Steel Point, and Daylight would be second, and then Smeg, the mighty red Smeg, is coming along, and they're probably, what, a minute and a half in front of them. So, and then you can see the green sheet on Sydney City, David Witt's team. So they're about another minute adrift of Smeg. So there's our podium, folks. It's going to take a hell of a lot for anybody else to get in their faces right now. So that's it. At the bottom mark for the first time, 3 laps to go. There's a lot of golf left, so I guess depends on what the breeze does. But right now you'd think that's our podium. Come back to you when we get some more action down on these turn marks, and I'm sure there will be as this chasing pack gets down here. Back to you then. Okay, so there's 2, 4, 6 boats coming into this little tangle up here. 2 marks to go around, as you can see. Asco being forced to go around the right-hand mark, and Woody's going to drive off with Coco. So they're all going to get in each other's faces here, Warwick. This could be rather meaty. Lumix.
Well, Woody's going to do the best here. Asco, for me, that was the wrong mark to go to. I mean, he was clearly 4th, and he had the opportunity to take that mark, but and he's still got the shoot up going upwind, so just making a meal of it, Marcus. Too hard, mate.
Got himself a lot of grief there, for sure. Woody escaped. Nice takedown and got round the right mark, the Gotta Love It mark, heading straight across to Steel Point, where Woody got all his advantage last time, came out in the middle early and let 7 escape up even further into that right-hand side. So you'll bet that they'll all go up that shore this time, Warwick.
Well, you'd imagine so. I saw Witty go that way, but he's had to come back and he's looking ugly coming back. I'd just like to remind you, Kilo, I've actually got 2 of the 3 and picked the podium at the moment. Well, and the old dog John Winning is hanging in there for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to get the big bucks for this.
Long way to go, unfortunately. A lot of things happen on the dash to judge in these races, was, as you're well aware. So it's good to see yourself in good shape, though, early. I'm probably been a bit dusted off with Mojo, appliances online, just approaching this mark now, so he's well out of contention.
Yeah, geez, Nico's making it hard for himself today. He's getting good practice at coming back, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, as I said, they're only on the second lap of 4, so a lot of golf that be played here, and it's pretty up and down and directional, but they've just got to pick the guts out of this. The rule heads out of the boat day, Warwick.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway,
that's what it's looking like. We'll shut down and get further up and see who's sorting it out the best on the way up there. Back to you. There's our leader, Gotta Love It, 3-stringing it along nicely up here, was there? He's found that pretty much exact track that he took the first time up where he zipped him. And you can see Smeg, if you come around to the left side, that's second on the race course now. He's got his bow way down. It was a big risk to go all the way up that side of the harbour. Now you can see the grief. And I think you'll find that Michael Coxon will cross him with Sydney City Marine. But go you good thing, the big red 7, they're overstanding this. Just had a nice cruise in here, Warwick. It's going to be one of those magic days for these guys, by the look of it. Absolutely.
One thing I did notice, though, with Seve and the boys, they chipped away at the shifts a little bit more than the other guys. You know, when they had pressure and they're a little bit down, they'd tack, and they weren't necessarily trying to bang a corner. They just chipped away at getting back to the right, where the other guys are sort of just trying to take longer legs. But the boat setup's beautiful, and yeah, I mean, of course we know they're a class act and always a contender.
The dream team at work. You saw how balanced and smooth they were there, just approaching that mark, no jerkiness or anything. So Big Sammy just wheels that red chute up the mast, and bye-bye. They're off down to the bottom pins. That'll complete their second lap. Now you can see you got a clear look at Smeg there, Warwick. He's probably another 2 and a bit minutes away from turning this mark if he gets there in second place. I can't see Coco. Where did he end up? Has he gone back into the... Can't see him, he must be coming straight at us. Yeah, there's Smeg just to the right of 7, and Cocko's in that mix somewhere with David Witt. No, I can see David Witt now. Yeah, a long way away though. Come back to you when these guys get up to this mark and see what the podium is looking like at that rate. But Gotta Love It is Gornsky, and we'll just sail away with this one. Back to you there. Okay, second on the racetrack, but this is tightened up with City Marine. Warwick was just saying that the delta from 7 to Smeg's about 3 minutes 20 seconds. So there goes Smeg. They've dropped a little bit of distance to David Witt, Tommy Clout and Keagan York, who've got the green boat. They're selling it pretty well, aren't they? They're not missing out on a lot, just hanging in there, I guess, is all they can do. No,
I mean, all these guys are very, very good sailors. Seven got the break early and they're just very smooth. We'll just watch a set on Sydney City Marine, see the turn rate of David Witt.
Whoa!
Not pretty.
Not pretty, David.
No.
Probably a bit nonchalant.
A bit of prawning now. A bit of prawning.
They had a real bad experience last week with their spinnaker. They got caught around the spreader, so yeah, that wasn't so flash.
Now they got it sorted, but they got pressure. Smeg's in very light air and very high, and they can't invert the battens on the mainsail, which I saw they were struggling with before the start actually. And I think actually Sydney City Marine might slip through for second here.
Was it the next boat around is coming through with pace is Grant Rolliston on the Fisher Paykel. Now that's got a brand new rig in it. That jibe looks like a pretty tricky one. They're underestimating the, because you've got to go around 180 degrees, I guess. They're turning the boat while they're setting the chute. So, go you good thing, Fisher and Paykel. That's got a whopping big mainsail. It's probably got the biggest mainsail in the fleet now, and you can see on the hoist on the jib, it's right the way up, almost to the top of the mast. So, they've gone really large with their big rig. So, it is on the way forward in this fleet. So here comes the chasing pack, led by Coopers, Rag and Famish, Jackie McCartney. We said before we got out in the water that we thought he'd broken his bow pole, but you can see a little repair out of the prodder on the bowsprit, and they must have found some material to sleeve that, so that's a good effort on their part. Now the other boat that's been hanging around the front end of this is John Sweeney steering the DeLonghi, doing a good job, was it?
They are doing a good job. What's interesting for me though, as you watch these jibe sets, is watching the turn rate of the steerers, and we saw Seven just get the timing perfectly right between the three guys, and the rest, you know, in comparison to Seven,
jerky.
I've got to say, are a bit raggedy.
So Asco's keeps trucking along. He's in this chasing pack. Woody probably in the end has shuffled himself back a couple of places, but he's having a good race nonetheless. And Malcolm Page got the kitchen maker up in this peloton as well. The same story as last time. These leading boats seem to suck the air out of this turn mark, don't they, compared to what Seven had. He just had a nice cruisy, pacey run into this mark. These boats are struggling.
Well, I think exactly what you just said there, they're sucking the air out of it. I mean, there's so many boats going around here and the air gets disturbed, and so it's, you know, when you come around here by yourself and you've got a bit of pressure, it's, you know, certainly a little bit easier.
So Chris Nicholson is having his second look at this turn mark, and he's gone from dead last up to about fifth. We had him before he decided he infringed somebody, and he's on approach up here without much pressure at the moment. So poor old Chris is just going to have one of those days, I think. But hey, we've got 2 more laps to do, and there could be some magic out of that fella's head yet. Okay, that's it at the top mark. They're on their way down to complete a lap 2. We'll get back down there and see how they untangle themselves. There will be some tangles for sure going around those jibe marks down there. See you then. So, just off the back of Fisher and Paykel, Grant Rolliston's new big rig on this boat today. You can see the size of that jib up the luff. It's a beauty. It's the biggest one out here. And they're having a really good race with Michael Coxon, so it's a good speed test for Grant, isn't it, with this new rig, because Cock has no slouch, and they're in hot pursuit to get into that podium. Grant just going into the lee of a yacht that's hasn't done him too many favours there. So Cocko's got his nose in front, and he's looking at the tailpipes of Smeg. He's got to, if he wants to get up in that podium, although he might even be there, have a go where David Witt sailed himself right out the other side of the course here with that green chute on. So Cocko might just, it's going to be close. Anyway, we'll get down there, shut it down, and see the outcome of this little tussle. But Cocko, Thurlow Fisher is on the move, trying to...
Smeg is 10 right top, though, he's not back.
It's a very good look. That that hasn't helped him at all down here. So they've got an issue with the top of their mane. Okay, we'll shut it down and get down to these turn marks. David is just through Smeg. The top of his sail's not helping one bit. Got a lot of cruisers racing back to the jetty beside us, so there's going to be some wash going through this area shortly, just to stir them up even more. So there it is, David Witt is going for this long no. He'll probably drop this one, Warwick, I would think. And there's a lot of waves coming his way with these tear-ass cruisers.
So Kilo, the delta at the top mark was 220, the delta now is 245, so the Seven's made a bit more of a gain there. Smeg, I noticed, was just struggling to get their battens sorted out in the head of that sail. Very late drop.
Has he popped over?
So we've got a good battle for second here. There's 4 boats that could get second and third still in this race. So while Seven's bolted, it's still a good race for the minor places on the podium.
Oh, there's those waves that Cocko's finally caught up with Cocko there, just to ruffle your feathers up. And rounds nicely clear of the Fisher and Paykel this time. So it'll be a good little nip and tuck affair with Fisher and Paykel with that big washing. He's just taken on the Cruel Sea, coming around his mark. So you can see the rest of them, the chasing pack is led by Jack McCartney and the Coopers, Rag and Famish, and John Winning hanging in there, lurking around that 6th position mark. And the rest of them, Mojo, Kenwood, way back up the track. So that's how it's shaping up. This is the start of lap 3. Come back to you shortly. Okay, we're just off the side of Grant Rollison's Fisher and Paykel with this new North rig. You can see, got a good shot of the jib hoist on this boat. You can see the prodder supporting the top of it into the mast up there. Now that is about, I don't know, a good metre higher than what the hoist is on Thurlow Fisher, who is just in front of him, powering away at this stage. But we'll go down to leeward and just have a look. I was looking at it before. It's such a high aspect sail, this jib, that the top of it was laying off quite a bit. We'll get down there and have a look. And not a very good patch.
I'm not sure. I mean, the thing was, they just come out of attack, so it'd be interesting to have another look at it. But what's interesting is Smeg has gone more to the western side and got absolutely hammered. So they've
have a look at this.
Gone right out of it. Look at Cocko. Cocko has got the new east pressure. He's 30 degrees high with 5 knots more pressure.
Grant Rollison just starting to get his way into that breeze now.
So Rollo's
have a look at that jib luff while we're down the leeward here. See how it's all twisted off?
The leech of the jib. Well, the thing is, 2 kilo. I mean, they've taken the hound so high on that he needs to have a bit of twist in it, otherwise it'd be backwinding into the main where it's a bit rounder higher up. So it's actually matching up with the mainsail not too badly, but yeah, it does look like a lot of twist initially, but probably not too bad actually.
It's another one of these one spreader rigs too. They've become popular. Gotta Luv, it's got a one spreader rig, and I think Lumix, John O'Witty's boat's similar. So they're all going to this stiffer setup, aren't they, with these new spars?
Well, it's all about windage and weight. I mean, they're trying to reduce all of that. And so with the carbon, the development of carbon mass, and these guys have been doing it for a few years now, they're just heading down that development path.
Well, the mainsail's certainly got some square head in it, there's no doubting that. She's large, so go your good thing, Fisher and Paykel. I'm sure there'll be some more development with that set of sails over the next few weeks. And by the way, folks, this is the last race before Christmas, so we'll be having a couple of weeks off, maybe 3 weekends off, to get stuck into the Christmas festivities, and we'll get back and we'll be on our way to the Giltman. So we'll shut it down now, get up. Gotta Luv, it was in a bit of low pressure up there before. Yes, there they are, and they've parked up a bit up here. But I tell you, the boat that's really gone well is Michael Coxon's Thurlow. You were saying the delta down there was what, nearly 3 minutes. have a go where Coco is now. Gotta love it.
They've definitely closed that delta by at least half, and I think Ash made the comment before that Seven was sitting in no pressure there for a while Coco was high and had pressure, so you know this might not be over.
Well, that's right, and there's another full lap to go, and there's another run to complete this lap. So this is all tightening up. It's quite interesting how it happens, how fickle the wind is. Smeg sailed off into oblivion over there, so he's dropped right out of the podium. He'll be back in about 5th spot, persevering with that low lane over on the other side of the harbour, so that's just whacked him big time. So there they are, gotta love it. Reduced their lead to Coco, who's on the march. We said down the bottom mark that he was on the move, and he sure as hell is. He's throwing his pants off at the moment. So we'll come back to you and we watch the 7 do the bear away and set up here. Good looking outfit this. The dream team's back on board. Scotty Babbage, Sammy Newton and Seve whirling it along. Go you good thing. Gotta love it, 7. Top outfit today. So gotta love it, 7's lead is still intact, and 3rd time around for these guys. So there's that nice smooth style of theirs, but they've got nice pressure to work with there. Sammy Newton set up extraordinaire, up the mast, shoot on, goodbye. Now the big difference here is we've had a shuffle in the back of the podium, so we're just going to sit tight here. 7's gone, but Michael Coxon's just tacked the Thurlow and he'll be on lay, so he's only about a minute and a half behind. We'll see when you press your watch was, but it's closing up for the front, so Seve's got to just keep his eyes out of the boat on the next beat because he's certainly got parked up there. Okay, second around the course at this point in time, around this top mark is Thurlow. Boy, oh boy, haven't they come through? Because remember they got tangled up here, the first time up here they were in no man's lane, couldn't lay the mark, and they got spat out the back. So they've come through admirably at this stage to be now second. And how many minutes? That's what, about a minute and a half behind the leader?
Yeah, I didn't have the stopwatch going there, Kilo. But yeah, they've gone from 4th at the bottom mark to 2nd, so they've had a really good beat, and they're actually in good pressure relatively at the moment to 7. So they've certainly shut that delta down, and they've got people off their back so they can start to sail their own race.
And Grant Rollerson, who's aiming at us now, is slipped into 3rd out of all of that. We're tagging along with him, looking at his big new rig, and he was in that lineup when Seve was sort of falling into no pressure, but Coco was pressured up underneath him. We saw Coco lifting, which helped him immensely, and anyway, obviously Fisher and Paykel pulled into that pressure, and now clear 3rd, City Marine way off the back of his transom. So it's changed again. The podium was the ever-changing podium. We're going to sit tight here and just watch some more boats go around. I can see the Rags put his foot down a bit up this beat too. He's come right up into 5th position right now and can't even see Smeg. So we'll sit tight and come back to you shortly. So now 4th on the track, City Marine, Keagan York, Tommy Clout, David Witt on the wheel. Trying to change their jibing technique here and setting. Not as slick as a 7 outfit, was it? But nowhere near as slick. So anyway, they're all getting their act together. They're pretty hard manoeuvres, those, right back through the direction, aren't they, when you're going in like that? Yeah,
well, it is difficult, and I saw Witty then. He was trying to do the right thing by doing the slower turn, but the thing is, you got to remember, like, you know, these guys have just come back as first year as a team. It's early in the season. And you got to remember, 7's been at this for years and had extensive coaching, and they're a polished act.
There's Rag. You're looking at Rag. They just ripped into that. Probably had a little bit more pressure in the bear wave and set and gone. So there's Smeg. There's the boat that we lost in all of that. He shuffled his way from 3rd back into 4th, 5th. He's in 6th now, and probably going to struggle from there. So that's it. We'll get out of here, and we might have a bit of a. We're looking at 7 way down the harbour. That top batten will not behave itself on the mighty Smeg. It's not interested. Just at the back of Thurlow Fisher now, second on the racecourse, as we were saying. If you bring the camera around to the right, Simon, you got, this is the distance between second and first. If you're on the big red 7, Simon, go around to the right. They're on approach to the turn mark to complete the 3rd lap. So that's a nice little healthy lead still, but there's a lot of trapdoors in this course, Warwick. Even downhill there's trapdoors.
Absolutely, like big holes and big shifts still. So yeah, it's just snakes and ladders, but you know, certainly the rich are getting richer, that's for sure. They've the front of the pack is, even though they're quite spread apart, it's really extended away from the middle of the fleet. So just being able to sail in clear air, do your own thing, pays
so Michael
big
Coxon,
dividends. Cocko's pretty relaxed there, just sitting there, chilled out.
He's been the big improver or the big mover today. Like from where he was, he's made the biggest progress into 7. And as you were saying, he didn't even get around that top mark where he would have liked to. He was spat out the back door. So to be second on this race track after all of that, he's got another lap to do some more good stuff. And who knows? There's enough separation between 7 and Cocko for some miracles to happen. Maybe what.
Well, the thing is, Killer, I mean, I've got to say I'm not out here every week, but you know, roughly follow it. These two boats, being 7 and Thurlow, have been the two consistently top boats for the last few years, and that doesn't happen by mistake. I mean, Cocko's a very, very good sailor. When he came into 49ers, like back in '97, he was only, you know, very, very young. You know, he showed a lot of promise and talent back then, and he's chipped away at this class for a long time, and he's just a great natural sailor. Yeah. And, you know, and he's got 2 good guys with him. I mean, Dave O'Connor's, you know, he was a top 49er sailor skipper in his own right. You know, didn't quite crack that last little bit for the Olympic. And, you know, Daniel Nixon's, you know, he's coming along strongly as well. So, you know,
okay, so that's our second place. And looking over my shoulder, Fisher and Paykel now is under pressure from City Marine. So 3rd place is always the clutch place on this Pick the Podium game. And it's not going to be any different today. And Rag and Famish is sliding up to be a threat for that 3rd position as well. So around comes Mr. Coxon, and he's pretty guaranteed of 2nd, you would think, but a lot of holes in this. So we'll just sit tight and see who gets to be 3rd down here for the final dash for cash. Come back to then. So the tempo going up, a little bit of pressure coming down here. David Witt coming straight in to try and get an advantage over Thurlow Fisher. They're going to have to drop there. He's on a hot one, so where's he going? To the other mark. You'd think he's put plenty of pressure on the boys. Wow. Witty's done a... Oh, where's he going now? He got himself really smashed there. It's free and down. So Smeg's come back into it too. What? Nah. And Rag and Famish just got caught too skinny to the... So just a little bit of pressure was that in the last minute or so, a little bit of pressure came in and caught them all out on their approaches.
Yeah, I was actually surprised at that. I mean, you're right, the breeze did increase, and so the closing rate on the mark increased significantly, but for all these guys are, you know, good campaigners, and all 4 of them got caught out there, which was surprising.
Yep, well, plenty of tricks left in this, and there's a little bit more breeze building down the course as we speak. Grant Rollison's going back to the east, and City, Smeg and Rag have taken that pressure up on the north side of the harbour. I can't see it working somehow, but we'll find out. We'll get up there and see how it all comes together for it. He's got a lot more height and speed than 7 up this beat, and well, up the other beat as well, because he came to him, but he's closed this lead down now. I think 7 he's up to weather now, but he's probably about, what, 200, 300 metres behind him, which if that translates into a downwind situation, it'll increase a bit. We know that once the shoot goes on the 7 boat, but I just got a feeling Cocko's boat's going a little bit nicer than the 7. It looks a bit,
I don't think,
sort of lumpy, or...
No, it's one of those days. I really believe it's about the pressure mainly, and it's and certainly, you know, the angles, the shifts are just so big. I mean, 1 minute, you know, one boat's 20 degrees higher than the next, and it looked like there that, you know, Coco's really getting back into Seven for a moment, but then Seven's popped out the other end of this sort of funky part just off Bolton Glass, and now they're up and 3 strings and got pressure, and these guys are all a bit down. It's just snakes and ladders, but no doubt that they have sailed the second half of this race very, very well. But I think the conditions are too funky to draw any conclusions on actual rigs and actual boat speed.
The other thing might be though that Seven has seen Coco coming at him, and he's probably sailing a bit more defensively, and he's not putting his snakes and ladders kit together as well as he did the first few times.
I think that's a fair comment. It's from what I was seeing then, and we're just observing that Seven were playing a bit more of a covering role, and so in that situation, you know, maybe the guy behind has a little bit more of an opportunity to pick when he wants to tack.
Anyway, these 2 boats are on the podium. It remains to be seen who's going to be third. So we'll get up, watch the rounding, and then we'll sit tight and see who's in the dash for cash for third on today's podium for you. See up the top mark. So there's our leader, Gotta Luv it, led all day, and he's on his way to the finish. And another immaculate spinnaker set by Slam Sammy Newton, and Scotty Babbage backing him up there. So they're on their way. So they're going to take the gun today. Michael Coxon is astern of us, but he's on lay for this mark. So he'll be safely into second, and third place has got the Smeglers back into third from what I can see. So good on them. They were completely obliterated up that last beat. And so it's one of those funky days, hey mate?
Absolutely. It's really interesting. I was watching the Seven team again, and Seve is so patient on those jibe sets. He just waits until the chute has got, you know, basically past the jib so it can't get fouled, and every top mark they've just been the smoothest out of everyone. It's going to be interesting to watch the Thurlow team and see how they manage it.
Well, they're on approach, so nice and high to it, so they'll get a nice carvy turn to execute. Dan Nichols is in the is it Dan Nichols? Nico is in the bow. So there they go. Coco, a bit more pace on here. Manly working on those hoist lines and tack lines. Still haven't turned the boat properly. I think the spinnaker's not up yet. So
see, it's caught. No, but it's got caught at the top of the jib. It's the same deal. It's just turning it too quick.
Not blowing away. Okay, it's going to be one of those who can do the best jibe setup here. So we're sitting tight. Now here comes the race for third on the podium. You've got David Witt to weather of Smeg, but Smeg's in front to leeward. As long as he can lay, he's got a bit of a struggle on his hands here. David will have him if he can't. Who's going to win this one? Is that a Smeg third, or it's line ball, isn't it?
It is line ball. If Smeg can lay, but they don't look like they can at the moment. And David Witt will get through into third, but certainly very close.
Yeah, he's
rolling. A little lift there, and it's going to be very tight.
Ooh. Ooh.
No, David Witt's gone over the. Is he clear ahead? He's clear ahead now. So this is a great little battle.
Sure is. And they're aiming straight at us.
Last place on the podium.
So here's the crew work coming to the fore here. David had a couple of not so flash ones. What's he going to give us this time? Gill going to town on his red chute. Whoa! Gary Phillips fell over there. But it's a race for the chutes, isn't it? Oh, David's away, Smeg's away. It's getting hot in the kitchen, and now back into fourth is Fisher and Paykel, Grant Rollerson been there, and Cooper's Rag and Famish coming back into that chasing podium position, but I think it might rest with Sydney City at the moment. They're doing a pretty good job. Round goes Grant Rollerson and Jack McCartney, Sharko and Big Peter Harris. So you can get the smoothness into these sets. Good work, Fisher and Paykel up the top. Full and drawing, and Rag's trying to go inside them and trying to get nice job, Peter Harris. Gee, those mainsails take a while to flip over. So that's us. We're going to get down there and follow this little battle for third. The rest are further back than fullbacks in another game. See you shortly. Okay, here's a dilemma. We're just watching in City Maroon roaring down with his bow down. Cocko sailed into a light patch, tried to jibe the boat and get across to him, and as a result of that was in the tide. Who would have thought?
Yeah, unbelievable. It's funny, but I saw them do the initial jibe and they just jibed into no pressure, or sailed into no pressure and tried to get away from it. Then saw City Marine and Smeg coming down with the new pressure, jibed back, got caught out, and on the fin.
He'll be ropeable. That's just been the day, hasn't it? There's just big holes in this track, upwind and down. And look at David, he slowed right up again, so that was just a little pocket of pressure that they jumped into, and Cocko got isolated, and he's really isolated himself now.
So from second to maybe 6th or 7th by the time they get that thing up.
Yeah, you're right. So the podium has changed again. What can happen? They've only got another... Anyway, we'll leave that. David's into second. Now we'll go forward here, Simon. You've Gotta Love It with a real hot angle back to this finishing line. Come round to the front, so Gotta Love It. In the end, got him. He got him all day actually, but he had to do a bit of defensive work with Mr. Coxon up that last beat, but there he goes across the line. Great job those guys, got the wheels back on the red machine. Gotta Love It wins the second heat of the state title. Good job, Warwick. Those guys, they just did the had the right approach to that beat up the east, didn't they? They just kept chipping away, as you said, chip, and just got on that lay line beautifully the first time, second time, and third time. Hard to beat.
Well, the first beat, they really chipped away in the east, as you said, more so than others. I mean, Yandu had a chance early on, but they let it go. But the thing, these guys, their crew work, the way they sail the boat through the water, is just flawless. So thoroughly deserved the win and the margin of the win. So well done to them.
Yeah. So out of all of that, the big switcheroo with Thurlow going down. We've got the green shoot on David Witt's. If you're turning you on that vision, Simon, well played. They're just going to come across this line. They don't have to do anything too magic. They got Smeg after all their woes. They ended up shuffling back to about 6th spot on the end of the third lap, or about that. They had a miraculous beat up that last beat and got themselves back on the podium, and they were well in at the first up there. They were on the first lap, they were third, so David won't make it here. He's going to have to do a little bit more work to get it across the mighty City Marine, but one jibe should get him there. So in they come. David would be happy with that, was he? He was in the mix most of the day and just sniffed it out, got a bit lucky when it counted.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, give them time and they'll smooth up some of those manoeuvres.
They're pretty happy. Second today, Sydney City, and the mighty Smigglers with Dan on the stick today. Danny Phillips, his brother Gary in the middle, and Big Gill in the bow. Have brought the Smeg into third. So that's our podium, folks. Rag is still battling to get down here. I think they're going to end up 5th, and Thurlow Fisher will get in 4th position potentially. Okay, that's it for us. Thanks, Warwick, for coming out again, mate. Persevering with a camera cat this afternoon. Young Ashland, come along to keep an eye on Woz. So we'll see you back in the club for a Christmas ale, mate, this afternoon. Thanks a lot, and for Simon Brown for squeezing the trigger for sure. Thanks, Woz.
No worries, Kilo. Enjoyed it.